Yo, welcome to another episode of the Larry Ohh Show. My co-host with me, as always.
What's going on, y'all? It's John Phelps.
And I'm Larry Ohh. This is an FL Studio music producer podcast. We talk everything FL, everything music production. Today, we're just going to hop right into it. We're going to talk about the piano roll, everything that there is to know about the FL Studio piano roll. A few episodes ago, we did everything all about the mixer. Seemed like a lot of people liked that episode, so we're going to hop into another themed episode. This is all about the piano roll because there's a lot to talk about. We're going to be doing a giveaway. 5 people that comment the keyword, the key phrase in the comment section down on YouTube will be entered to win every single one of my FL Studio courses. Piano roll, there's a lot to talk about. It looks like it's very simple. We'll get into some basic stuff, then we can get more advanced.
Hell yeah.
Right off the bat, you could see, all right, if you notice that some of these lines are light, some of them are dark, that's because it's set in just like a normal scale. So the white keys are lighter, the dark keys are darker. But if you go over here and you turn on what's called ghost channels, if you go to view and then you go to scale highlight, ghost channels is turned on right now, and it's also Alt V. I never used that.
Oh yeah.
I never used that shortcut ever, but you can also choose editable ghost notes, which I think this is pretty new. Did you ever see that?
No, I haven't seen that. What's
That's
that
wild,
about?
bro. I'll turn it on for right now and then show you. So if you go to, let's say, create just a normal like triad chord, right? And we go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, basic chord. I'll put 2 of them, just, you know. By the way, so I got to keep this in mind too. That shortcut that I just did right there,
Yeah.
Control, highlight, hold shift, click, and drag, and then let go of the mouse first.
Right.
And then make sure it snaps in. Easily copy and paste the chord over. I don't like to necessarily do the whole like Control B. You could do the Control B thing, but it won't go in like right on the grid. You can see that it goes off. If you have a little bit of space over here on that pisses me off, bro. I can't stand it. I also won't do the whole thing where like some people will go up here, highlight it, but then you also have to have your snap on.
Right.
A certain
if you
point.
have your snap on, you can just take that red template and
then
Control B it. It'll brush it over.
It'll
and
bring it over.
But that'll keep it to the grid. Otherwise, it's gonna mismatch and get off kilter.
Yeah, so that's why
I have something funky sounding, but it'll be smooth.
That's why I've always gotten into that habit of just Control, click, drag to highlight, hold shift, click and drag. You can let go of shift actually.
And if you want to get those notes to touch in the middle there, one thing I found is you can Control A, highlight something like that.
Yep.
And you can Control L.
Control L.
And it will extend it over to the next little joint on the right.
Or you do it on everything here.
It's the legato.
Legato.
My music theory comes from that. Thank you, FL, bro. For real. Yep, FL University.
The only reason I know those words is because of
legato.
FL. Yeah. Because I would like go and look up. I think if you go and you look up,
really though,
maybe not snap. If you go to tools, I don't know if it's in here. Legato. Yep, quick legato. Control L. That's the only reason I know what that is, because I'm looking through this menu at one point.
And when you're on this menu, take a look. You know what I'm saying? When you're in the neighborhood, take a look around, because you're gonna see all kinds of commands, terms you're not gonna be familiar with. Like there's some that are, what is that called? Flam or whatever down there. That's a whole percussion term like you can look into. Yeah,
that's like if you hear a snare, sometimes if a drummer's hitting a snare drum, or even any drum, really, but the most that I've ever heard it is like on the snare. 2 hands, one hand hits slightly slower than the other hand.
Yeah, it's so such
like,
a good
you'll
sound.
Hear, if you ever hear that,
good.
like,
But I was listening to, I think a Curtis Mayfield song like yesterday, and it had a really good flam on one of the drops, and I was like, see, that's the kind of pocket that when a drummer is in that, it's like God is in the room type stuff.
Bro, it takes a lot of skill to play drums like that. But like, you can add a flam in there. And that's more of a drum term than a melodic term.
Right.
It's really just a strum, if you think about it. A flam is almost the same as a strum, but a flam is more pertaining to drums.
One thing I like to do sometimes to like liven up my keys, make them more sound human, is you go to that strum, strum
You can hit
command.
Alt-S.
Right. Bring that strum in there, and you can mess with the velocity and the timing.
Yep.
And depending on which way you go to the right or the left, it affects the sequence of the notes. Instead of them all hitting at the same time, it kind of rolls them into each other or away from each other.
You can adjust the tension. You see the time now. The beginning of those notes is thrown off grid a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can do that on the start. See, this whole side right here is the start of the chord.
Right.
And you could do the end of the chord as well.
Right. So
And then
if you
just hit
put
accept.
keys in your stuff and you ever need to like, oh, I need to fix like how something hits in my keys, that's a really good tool to be doing that for real. So tap in with the stroke. Stroke.
Yep.
Oh, another thing, you can shift and razor blade the end of that off too, so you can avoid like any weird loop.
If you go to the razor, so go to the razor, or if you have the type to keyboard off.
Oh,
See, this is where things get crazy.
Yeah.
So you type the keyboard.
So this is
off.
gonna be an ADD episode.
It is.
Y'all ADD people who's just like, you got ADHD. Yeah, deal with it.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
This isn't scripted. It's a long form, like
We're in the
free
mix.
form podcast.
Yeah, we're in the mix, yo. Tap in, pull up a copy of FL, and do some of this.
There's
real.
a shortcut for pretty much everything. So I mean, like if you got to turn the type to keyboard, type to piano roll off, then you could do Control T. You can hit Control T here, or you can just turn it off. Then, like he said, you can go to the razor tool. I just hit C on the keyboard, and then would you say Shift?
Shift will just drop a whole line if you click there. See, hold on, Control Z that real quick. Control Z is how you go back a step. I think if you just, instead of dragging it down, you could just be able to press
Right click and drag, and then it deletes it.
But I was thinking Shift and click, and it'll just drop everything in a sequence. Like it'll cut everything off real quick. Try that. Is that not working for you?
Hold Shift and drag.
Hold Shift and just click. Oh, hold on.
Like that?
Oh, it didn't do it. It didn't do it. So, sometimes
Maybe it's one of your Mac things.
It must be one of my Mac presets. Yo, I'm a Mac user. I just got my Mac back. It was in the shop for like 2 weeks. I was making beats on BandLab all
Hey.
BandLab was awesome though. I did some vocals in there. But anyways,
Yeah. All right.
I finally got my.
It
Might be a Mac back thing. You know what I'm saying? I got my Mac back. Feeling good about that. But there's a setting. Believe me, there's a setting that if you click and you're pressing Shift at the same time, it'll like chop the whole thing up. Whatever's in the stack. I'll do it on my vocal.
Wait, you got to
comping
highlight
stuff,
them
too.
first, then.
Might be that. It might be that. I don't know.
Maybe if you highlight them and then hit Shift and click. No.
I don't know. I feel like the old man telling tales, bro. I feel like I saw it.
We don't believe you.
I saw the whale. It was out there.
Nah, but like the one, if you hit just right click and drag, like normally you'd with the left click, if you right click and drag, it'll delete those notes on the end. So you get a perfect line on the end. That way you get a perfect loop in here with the new strum that we just did with Alt and S. If you missed that, getting to that strum option, the shortcut for it is Alt and S. There's a lot of shortcuts that pop up these kinds of windows in the piano roll, and almost all of them are Alt and a letter. So just like that new chord progression tool is Alt P if you're in the piano roll. We'll get to that, but that's Alt P. Alt P. And then that's the new chord progression tool. Discard changes for now, but we'll get into that a little bit. We pretty much like went into that piano roll thing. I mean the chord progression tool, like pretty in depth in some other episodes, but yeah, we get
Try
that.
adding one more note below this chord. I want to show you something real quick.
Another note below.
Yeah, somewhere that it sounds good, kind of in the same range.
I'll just do like a lower C.
I'd say something a mid-tone that you can kind of flip at one point. So find like a fifth or a third right there. You know what I mean? That's nice right there. Oh, that's oh, I love that. Hell yeah. So one thing I'll do, I learned this music theory thing called you can invert chords. You can do different inversions of chords.
Yep.
So basically, you're just messing with the order of the notes that the chord has within it. So knowing this little bit of music theory, you can take any one of these notes, be it an octave, a third, a fifth, you can grab it, and you can, using Control and down, it'll drop it an octave, correct?
Yep.
Mac user here. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But Control down and it'll drop it an octave, and that's how you can start to get different voicings out of your chords. So you might be like stuck on one tone, but when you put like the mid tone in there at the top or at the bottom, it just brings a whole new persona to the chords. So.
Yep. And that the shortcut to highlight, say you want to invert just that D sharp that's right there, and you don't want to like click and drag it up or whatever and think, and risk knocking it off the grid or out of the same spot that you wanted.
Control.
Just control and highlight. Or like, say there's just a couple of notes. Say you want to invert, you want to get like frisky with it, and you want to invert D sharp and C. So right here, you want to invert this one, and then you want to invert this one. How do we highlight both of those to just get
shift.
there? Yep. You hold shift control at the same time, and you can select multiple notes, as many as you want.
Yeah, baby.
And then you hit control and then up an octave, I think might sound best here, because that if you go below it, we're just going to be right below that F7. And a lot of times it might sound dissonant is the word.
Yeah.
It might sound good.
That's another one. Yeah, dissonance.
Yep. Like it
So
gives
that's
it
like
like
some Tom and Jerry. That's cool.
You see, it's like evil sounding. See,
Ooh.
this whole chord progression, I think, sounds too high. So another quick shortcut, same shortcut that we just did here.
Right.
I want to bring everything down a full octave, control down arrow. If you want to transpose a chord progression note by note, it's shift instead. So we can zoom in here.
Bring it down a whole step.
Yeah, bring it down a whole step, meaning, so a half step would be, say you're going from this D sharp to D, right? A whole step
That
would be
a half step, yep.
D sharp to C sharp would be a whole step.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to go down a whole step, you'd go shift and then down, down. Now we are down a whole step. Sounds weird. Like these two right here, I feel like sound kind of strange, but if we go down a full octave on those, I think it's because they're... If we go a low note here, something sounds a little weird. I think they would sound good if they are in a higher octave above everything, but the whole chord progression is lower. Like, doesn't that sound a little bit better? That note sounds weird.
No, that sounds cool. I like that, bro. It tells a story, man.
See, that's another little quick shortcut. If you hold the Alt key and you right click, you don't have to listen to the whole chord progression. You can just go to see if things are sounding weird.
Blues there.
Why does nothing sound?
It sounds
good?
like a cat stepping on your keyboard. Because it's just a dissonant relationship between the chords. You know what I'm saying?
That one
Especially
sounds
that one. That's a bluesed out chord, brother. I don't know what the term would be. Like, some people that really know their music theory tap into the comments, because
Yeah, who knows what that is?
if you know what is going on with that chord that gives it that bluesy feeling, let us know. Because that's definitely the vibe. That's definitely a feeling right there.
'Cause I definitely missed that music theory class.
Right. I missed that Rick Beato video.
I'll throw flex. Another reason.
Shouts out to Rick Beato, though.
Like, a lot of times it sounds weird because it's just like a bad sounding piano, FL keys, you know? You throw something else in there, it could sound great.
Right. So that already sounds nice. Though.
Hey.
Like, all of a sudden it's on some R&B shit.
Yeah. Weird. But yeah, so
See, with a chord progression like that, it just has to go longer.
yeah.
Because there has to be a resolve. So, like, when you keep going back and forth between the two, that's why you get that uneasy feeling. But,
Yeah.
like, if it goes brung, 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 like it does like an evolution, and then it comes back to that joint.
Yep. A lot of times with
first
chords, say if you want to like put a third one in here, like, and we're doing this manually, you know, we're just like clicking in notes and chords and stuff. If you wanted to, something that helps now that you have two chords in here, what you could do to kind of give you a little cheat sheet with the piano roll, you see how like these light and dark gray notes, if you go to this drop down and you hit view, and then you go down here, and we got sidetracked real quick because we were supposed to go in on ghost notes, and we were long past ghost notes.
Hey, man.
We got sidetracked.
One's in the chat if you got ADD, for real. We're going to start streaming, and we need the ADD warriors who be making beats to be in the chat, because we need y'all vouching for us, because people come for us in the comments. They'll be like, you don't spend enough time on one topic. It's like, we mentioned it. Go look it up.
Yeah, we got sidetracked right out the gate.
What was it, though? Was it
So
scale highlighting?
Yeah, so if you go to scale highlighting, and then I usually go and I turn this on automatic. Turn it on automatic. So that means like when you start to when you write a chord that has more than two notes in it, 3 notes,
right?
It's automatically gonna make everything that is light gray is gonna it's going to tell you that that's in the scale
Right.
that it thinks you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like based off the notes that you have in those chords.
It's like, and is it the most recent 2 chords, do you think? Or is it like...
You could have just one here. So you could have like just this one chord, or like I'll write a new chord and it'll go back to this, right? It'll go back to the way it was normally, where all the white notes are light gray. But then when I start writing a chord, so let's say we put one here, that D sharp, see that D sharp turned to light gray. And then you can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And now you can see that all these other notes. And so based off of that chord, it's given us all these light gray notes. And
what if you make it like a 100-note chord?
See, and then
What if you make a 100-note chord?
100 notes.
100-note chord beat.
Hold on, let me change something real
You
quick.
gotta pull that up. 100-note chord type beat.
Oh, bro, I don't want to get any more sidetracked, but I could go off on something that I just thought of right now. Oh man, but yeah, like now you can use that as a cheat sheet to write your next chord. So if you want to go down to this next one, and then use this one, and then use that one. Sometimes they don't sound good right out the gate, but
Okay.
like that sounds good. And then you want to go down here, go to something else. And then maybe invert that one, so it doesn't sound like it's just, you know, gradually going down. And maybe put this one over here. Yeah, that sounds good. Just kind of using those as a cheat sheet, because not everything's going to sound good right when you drop it in.
For sure.
Especially if you don't know music theory like me. Like, I have no idea, like...
Automatic.
Theory-wise, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Automatic.
But I'll just use my ear. Leave it on automatic. Leave it on there. And use that as a little bit of a guide, because sometimes the next chord has to be a major chord.
Right.
Or, you know, just the way things are progressing versus a minor. So it's like...
That's cool. You should speed this up, 160. And then if you loop that up and add one more like kind of deeper note on that first chord to match the timbre of the last one. If you so go do that last note, that bottom, what is that?
This one?
Yeah, that bottom note. That bottom note. If you just put that on the 1, I think that might sound crazy too.
And a lot of times, like a repetitive note in a chord. Just,
Yeah,
like if
I
you
love
just
the
leave
like
one note.
Low, bing, 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 bing.
Like what if that like?
Yeah.
Or if you
And then-
extended it.
Mm-hmm. And I'll give it a little bit of that bounce. Like to me, that bounce is like more of like a vacation sounding bounce all of a sudden. That's when you get a flat. Hey. That's
And you can
dope.
just start going crazy on the. Then you could start going crazy with the bass notes. Sometimes I'll choose that note because that one sounds good as like a lower tone.
Yeah.
I'll maybe copy
Nice
and paste
808,
those
it's
down.
gonna go stupid, bro.
Yeah, you go in a
The
G sharp
808's
808,
gonna go
it's
crazy.
gonna sound hard. It might like that G sharp just sounds
that
good.
G is just good. I would just let it rock on that.
Just that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we can go back to where I got sidetracked from a little bit. All right, we go to the ghost notes. So I'm gonna just clone this flex up real quick, and then just so we have something going on here, and change it to, I don't know, like literally any sample, anything for right now. Lower the volume on that a little bit. Go into the piano roll. Now ghost notes are on right now, so this again gives you a cheat sheet when you're going to write another like top melody, counter melody, whatever you want to call
Bass line.
Bass line, 808 pattern, like just when you're starting out, and this only works within this one pattern. So it's not going to work from pattern to pattern. If you go to pattern 2, you're not going to have the ghost notes because you're not in the same pattern with that chord progression.
Right.
But like I said earlier, before I got sidetracked, go to the drop down, go to view, go to ghost channels. But editable ghosts.
Oh, okay.
This is crazy because you can literally move the ghost note around, bro. Like I can move this if I wanted to, without going back to the other one, back into the other piano roll in the other patch of flex.
Cool.
Crazy, bro.
But like, how about if you're putting notes into the other channel? How do you know, like, when, like, you know, how do you not edit the previous ghost notes? You know what I'm saying?
Say that again.
So like, when you're in another channel like this, how do you toggle between just adding samples into this channel and toggling the ghost notes? You know what I'm saying?
The only thing I can think of is click away
outside
from
of it and drag it.
or if you go to
the,
we're on the pencil tool, maybe the paintbrush tool. Nope. So yeah, then you just got to toggle it on and off if you don't want that.
Yo, FL, come on, where we at? Where we at?
But I would just hit like in another spot.
I'm just saying, if you pressed Alt, maybe that would be a cool workaround to just. That's how you access the goat note, goat note, the ghost note.
Yeah.
Just be like, if you grab that, if you used Alt with that or Option or something.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how
smooth.
I would use this to write a top melody. I'll turn off the editable ghosts for right now, but that's just a cool option that you have.
Right.
And that's just if you want to turn it on and off, just memorize these shortcuts, Control Alt and V to turn that off. And then Control Alt V to turn it back on again. But I'll use this to write a counter melody, and then in this case, what I'll think of, I'll write it here to kind of give me a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
And then I might bounce it around to a higher octave so it fits.
That's
you know
what I
I'm
used to do with my bass lines a lot of times, because so when I started making beats, I didn't always have the best speakers to audition stuff through. So what I would do is I would line it up using the ghost notes, like this method that Larry's using. And then I would do that at a higher octave because you can hear that in cheaper speakers. And then I would use that control down to go to lower octaves and make it the bass line.
Yeah.
It just reminded me, I was just like, so a lot of times my early beats, the bass line and the lead had some commonalities, but I would like extend the bass line longer and make the melody line shorter. But it would be the same notes. It's just basic beats, you know?
Basic. I mean, there's beats that, the hits that are made like that.
Exactly. A big influence of mine was like, Chuck English of the Cool Kids. His beats just always were so inspiring to me because they were simple and they hit so fucking hard.
Yeah, simple beats, man.
Just the king of that, for real. You got a little bit of that mysticism going on here.
They still sound like they're kind of clashing frequency-wise.
I think
I would choose a different patch.
I think the chord, the instrument that the chord is doing, I think that it would be cool to do like a guitar with that. Something a little bit more softer that kind of progresses nice. Because I like the lead in that sound. Ooh. Put a little grow speed on that. Oof. I love a good
That's kind of fire,
lo-fi like guitar sound.
Yo, let me save this. Yo.
Yeah, save that right
What
quick.
episode are we on? I think we're on episode 38. Piano roll.
Episode 38.
Yo, we're breezing through this year. 38 episodes, bro. Isn't that
Come
crazy?
on, yo.
38. We're almost at a year.
That's what I'm talking about.
January 1 or January whatever, that date is will be a year. I think our first episode was January 2nd.
Sheesh.
I think so.
We hit the year running.
Yeah, bro.
No
we
kidding,
haven't missed
yo.
a week.
No fucking kidding.
We have not missed a week.
Yo, so congrats to us.
Yeah, for real. Thank you guys for watching.
Yo, for real.
Crazy.
For real.
Before I forget it, this is like one of the craziest piano roll tricks I ever learned in my life.
Hell
I don't know if you know this one.
Here we go.
So it has to do with chords.
Cue the drum roll.
And do you know that like with with stock plugins in FL, you could pitch bend chords in here by using like slide notes. So like just like an 808. Like a lot of us are probably familiar with the 808s. So if you make a slide note, if you click this little option here and you go to a slide note, and let's say we want to slide it down here, stay in key.
Yeah, bro.
So the reason why it sounds kind of weird there is we have to hit another G sharp here, so it resolves itself, it goes back into G sharp. But that does the whole chord though.
Yeah.
That's kind of obvious, right? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that somebody hasn't thought of. That kind of sounds good like that.
I like that.
But what if you wanted to pitch bend just one note in there? You know how to do it?
How we doing it? How we doing it?
You highlight, which let's say we want to pitch bend just this G right here. Change the color of it. Change the color of it, right? Let's say we want that to be, whoops. So let's go to orange, right? Put an orange G in there. Now copy and paste this down and make this a slide note.
Okay.
Now, now because it's orange, it knows to just slide the other orange note. And now it's just gonna slide just that G because it's an orange.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that too. They both sound good. Yo, which one sounds better? The first one that we did or the second one? One where we bent the whole chord.
I think it sounds subtle.
Yeah, it's very nice in there.
It
might be key phrase time.
Yeah.
Might be.
How far are we into this episode right now?
Let me take a look. Let me see.
I'm putting it
We're 30 minutes in.
30 minutes in?
Yeah, 30 minutes in.
All right, key phrase.
Key phrase is ADD.
For real.
Yo.
ADD.
Run to the comments and drop a comment, ADD.
You medicate me.
ADD Nation.
All right, yeah, so 5 people that comment ADD will be entered to win the FL Studio course giveaway, where I give away every single one of my FL courses from youhelpme.com. And who knows, I think 5 winners are going to get this session too, because it's coming out to be like a pretty cool
this is pretty fire.
Loop. I like it. So yeah, that's one of the craziest things that I've learned over the last like 5, 6, 7
crazy.
years, bro.
I had no clue about that one.
Wild.
That's
and
crazy.
you could do that with you could do that with 3 notes in there, 2 notes, as long as you go by the color code. It's gonna only warp and only pitch
Orange,
down.
blues.
I mean, but you can go up too. You don't have to go down.
Right.
So, but as long as it's another orange note, you can go up here.
That's dope.
It almost sounds like there's a gross beat on it.
Right.
Or like an Effectrix that has like the vinyl. That sound, I go for that sound a lot with Effectrix or even like gross beat, where I have vinyl stop on, but I turn the mix knob way down.
Right.
So it gives it like that vibe right there, but this is cleaner because you're only just doing one note.
Right.
And it's not the whole...
It's just a different thing.
Yeah,
completely.
that whole pattern isn't getting doubled up. You know what I'm saying? Which it still sounds good if you use gross beat or Effectrix, but
right. It just sounds different.
Yeah, bro.
Everything is gonna sound different, like the different ways that you do it.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about melodies. Again, like this episode can't be crazy long. I want to do one day, like just do like a 2 or 3 hour episode if we have to. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna get to that
go
point.
live.
Yeah,
we go live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If y'all want us to go live, tap in.
Yeah, let us
drop
know,
ones in the comments. If you want us to go live, just let us know, because we want to do that, but we want to do stuff that's going to be useful and beneficial for y'all and that you guys are going to be into. So let us know.
Hell yeah. So we talked about melodies. I mean, I could go in on even more melodies. Again, let us know if you want like a part 2 of this one, because there's so much in the piano roll.
For real, it's its own DAW. For real.
Like, so a lot of us know these velocity notes down here. You want to make a hi-hat pattern a little bit more human, you know, make them random, or you can hit Alt and R and you can randomize, not the pattern. You could turn that on or off, but sometimes doing this, with the hi-hat is nuts. I did this by mistake.
Right.
Left the pattern on one time, right? And then I was just listening to it. That doesn't sound great, but like there was one time, maybe go lesser octaves.
I got a crazy idea for what to do, but with a different sound effect for sure.
But you can randomize the panning. So makes it a little bit wider in the mix. You got that hi-hat that kind of like, it's not so drastic, but maybe a slight panning. You can see it messes with that. Velocity, I definitely do like a randomized velocity. And then for hi-hats, that's as far as I go. Then,
what I'll do, a nice little thing that I like to do with my hats, it's kind of in the same humanizing vein, is I'll Control A, I'll select all of them, and then I'll hold down to Alt, and I'll use the arrow key left or right to sort of like move it off of the grid and give it a little bit of that like behind the beat kind of feeling. And I'll do that with my snares. I'll do that with whatever instruments I kind of want to make feel a little bit more like crazy, you know what I mean? And it's almost like a flam effect for some stuff too. Use a flam between your 808 and your kick. That's a nice little one. When they're a little bit out of the pocket with each other. It's kind of subtle but cool.
And then you have all these other options down here that you can do by hand. You can change the note, fine pitch. You can do cutoff frequency stuff. The other thing that's new
an
is
episode on that whole section.
Bro, I know.
It's nuts.
Because you could do note versus channel.
The note repeat.
Yes. The note repeat is the new feature that was FL's 2024.1 maybe. I don't even know if it was in the first one. Might have been in the second.
It feels like a while ago, yeah.
But you could do the note repeat where if you want some like fast, just like easy, quick glitches, you can't get too in depth with this is what we talked about. Like you can't really edit too much. But if you want just a quick little glitch sounding, the higher up you go, the faster the glitch is. But they're always like in time. No matter what, they're always in time. So it could be like a half note, quarter note, eighth note, 16th, 32nd, 64th type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's massive. Love that. That note repeat.
And then sometimes those repeats sound a little bit too loud. I'll go back to panning. I mean, velocity, my bad. And then listen to the ones that are a little bit too loud. Just lower the velocity on those if they're a little loud.
Right. The velocity control is also really good if you go between octaves on your 808s, what you'll sometimes hear is the higher octave 808s will just like boom, like blow through your speaker. You can limit that, but what I like to do is when I'm hearing it in the session, I'll go to the velocity control and I'll dip that that velocity on that one hit. I don't know what it is about the sample or whatever that causes it, but the lower frequencies don't punch as hard as like this loud high frequency in the 808. You'll hear that.
This 808's nuts.
Yeah, that's OD.
Oh, we got the note repeat. Make sure that you like reset that too. That's the one thing that I find kind of annoying.
Oh, you have to reset it, huh?
I'm in a different
instrument.
So this is a little bug. Huh? I wouldn't call it a bug because in some cases it is kind of a good thing. But with the note repeat, I don't like
a brand new instrument shouldn't be staying on that thing.
It shouldn't remember it for a brand new instrument.
Right. I get
like so now I find myself having to go to another note, hit another note, and then go into it. So that way it's like a normal note again. This 808 is crazy long, bro. Yeah, I'll do that one. Go all the way up in velocity. Oh, this ain't in G. This ain't tuned.
This ain't G.
This ain't G sharp. I can
tell. This ain't G sharp.
So you go to I mean,
my guy.
We don't need a tuning lesson, but I'm gonna tune it because I like that. Unless I'm wrong. Yeah, see, it's A sharp. Go to A sharp. A sharp. That's not A sharp. That's A sharp. Heated.
think that's your better bass note. That second one
for the whole thing.
I think so. Yeah.
Think?
I think so.
I think it might be just a lower octave for G sharp and a different 808. Yeah, we're gonna get into an issue now where everything's out of tune. That's the thing with 808s, bro. It's like you gotta find the right tuned, like you gotta tune it. Then you gotta find the right 808 that has the right harmonics. Because it could sound good in a higher octave. You drop it down to a lower octave, it doesn't sound great, even though it's in the right key. Right. You change that to a different sample, and it sounds good. I find myself getting into that all the time, bro. And I think it's the technical reasoning behind it. I think it's because of the harmonics that whoever made that 808. I think that has a lot to do with it. But what were you saying originally about the 808 stuff in the piano roll, like going up to a higher octave?
Yeah, so if I'm going between a higher and a lower octave, what tends to happen with the 808 is like when you listen to it in the car, where you always give your beats the car test. When you'll be in that like low 808, boom, boom, the rumble is nice, and then you'll go up into another octave, maybe the same note, and for some reason it just hits so extra hard. And I was like, man, why is this? Why is this? But the little workaround that I kind of found was in the piano roll. If you go to the velocity control at the bottom below the piano roll, the higher octave 808s, for some reason, those are the ones that typically like stand out in the mix. And you can, limit the overall signal, but instead of doing that, I like to just find the one that's standing out and use that velocity control to kind of like taper it back, just the one note. And then I'll listen by ear. Like there's no like math to it. It's just the feel of like, now it's sitting better. You know what I'm saying? So
like say if these D sharps are like at a higher octave, I have a feeling those are going to sound too loud.
They'll just jut out. You know what I mean?
Like, or let's say we do one D sharp. Like that one may be a little bit too loud. You're saying just kind of taper it off a little bit.
Yeah, just taper it off. You know what I'm saying? It's not a... I've been maxing out my 808s lately too. I've been keeping them at the very top line. I just like how it rumbles in the car a little bit better.
Yeah, they're just
if you got some trunk rumblers, send them our way. We want to hear some all bass beats for real, yo.
Yeah, I think we're getting this one went too quick.
For real,
41 minutes. Yeah, this episode went fast, so I think we're gonna have to maybe wrap it up. Maybe do a part 2. Do we do a piano roll part 2? Or maybe we make it a combined part 2 because a lot of people said they wanted a part 2 of the mixer episode. So maybe we do like a quick, like just finish off the mixer, finish off the piano roll stuff in the next episode, or maybe a couple episodes away. Let us know. Again, please make sure you join the giveaway by entering the keyword, the key phrase that we mentioned earlier in the episode.
What was it?
And if you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and as always, share this with a friend if
She'll get me.